Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is part 12 of What If Naruto was the descendant of Shao Kahn. If you guys enjoy this what if, and want to see part 13 of it, comment down below and let me know. Also check out previous parts of this what if. I have created a playlist for this what if, where you can find all the previous parts, link is in the description. And go ahead and check out other what ifs in the channel. Before we start, please do support for more awesome content. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a like, and also share this video with your friends. So let's start this video. The third Tsuchikage Inoki was a man who had outlived many previous Kages throughout the elemental countries from Konoha to Kiri. He was the oldest Kage in all of the elemental countries, and considered to be the wisest of them all, due to his fence-sitting ways. He was a man who believed in waiting to see how things progressed, so the best choice in whether to take a side or not in a conflict would be made available to him. It allowed the man to make smart moves when he became the Tsuchikage of Iwa, and lead the village to a certain level of prosperity. Of course, it was in his later years that the man was able to make the necessary smart moves, as he had been rather impulsive at times, and still was on occasion. His back now suffered for it too. All of our guards have been doubled at the walls Tsuchikage-sama. We will know if the Emperor attacks, said one Iwa Anga captain with the Tsuchikage nodding. Earth Country is the last country left, just as Iwa is the last shinobi village not under this Emperor's control. Though I doubt such a thing will last for much longer, commented Inoki while his granddaughter was in the room and was frowning heavily. This Emperor has single-handedly claimed every major country in Shinobi Village. It won't be long before he comes for us. The only reason Iwa and Earth Country still stand independently is because our defenses rival Kumo's in terms of being natural, and we can shift things around to our advantage in manipulating the ground around us. We can do far more damage defensively than Kumo could, and this Emperor knows it, said Kurisuchi, with Inoki nodding and sighing. It won't last forever. He has veteran ninja on his side. Veterans who have been in Earth Country before during the previous wars, and can map out the best routes to take with his army, said Inoki, while Kurisuchi didn't look entirely convinced they would fall easily to this foe. How are Han and Roshi? Did the team sent to bring them back to Iwa return? Asked Kurisuchi with Inoki shaking his head no. No, they haven't. That is what worries me the most, replied Inoki, since he knew that Iwa had not treated those two well, due to their Jinchuriki status. It could be the Akatsuki, stated Kurisuchi with Inoki shaking his head. No. They have been losing considerable ground during Minato's brat rise to power, and began his various conquests throughout the elemental countries. They no longer have the strength to oppose the shinobi village, much less take a Jinchuriki from one. No. This is the brat for a proclaimed emperor getting to them both before us, and offering them a better life elsewhere if they want it. Clearly those two traitors took it, replied Inoki angrily. Of course they took it, replied Naruto before emerging from the shadows to the now shocked Tsuchikage's right. How did you get in here? Demanded Kurisuchi, while getting ready for a fight like her grandfather was doing, while floating several feet of the ground. I'm more than just a solid mass of muscle, old man. Besides, I had help from one of my best spies and infiltrators to ever walk among the realms. He knew when to sneak me in here, and the patrols your ninja go through down to the last second. Replied Naruto while Inoki narrowed his eyes at him. What do you want? My unconditional surrender of Iwa, asked Inoki, with Naruto just giving an amused shrug. Perhaps. That way you can still run things here in Iwa, and there will be no bloodshed spilled in this village. Do you really want to make the same mistake as the others who oppose me did? Challenged Naruto with Inoki scowling further. Many in Iwa would wish to have your head simply because you are Minato's boy. He did kill a lot of my ninja during the last war, commented Inoki with Naruto letting a small smirk show on his helmeted face. Yes, I know. But I am not my father. My father is dead. He died saving his village. He died for Konoha. A village that had forsaken his own child regardless if they knew I was his offspring or not. Doesn't that information ease your vengeful heart? Knowing that the very village my father died protecting turned on his own son, questioned Naruto with Inoki, being silent for a moment, since he had heard the rumors about the Emperor's life prior to his ascension to the throne. A little, but I am just one old man. The other ninja and people of Iwa will not be so understanding. Many lost brothers, fathers, cousins, uncles, and more because of your father. They will not be so willing to submit to you as their new overall master, even with me as the Tsuchikage, remarked Inoki, since the hatred for the Yellow Flash and his offspring was running deep. Before Naruto could go further into the conversation, multiple explosions echoed outside of the Tsuchikage tower, and it made Naruto frown, since he had not ordered an attack on the village. As for the Tsuchikage and his granddaughter, they tensed in the belief that the Emperor had somehow launched a surprise attack, and braced themselves for a fight with him. They were soon surprised to see the young warrior looking out the window with a frown behind his helmet, covered face and had his back to them. It was only after a moment did Naruto smash the window and leaped out into the village. Instead of fighting them, did they begin to suspect this was not part of the young conqueror's plans for Iwa. When they decided to leap out of the same window as the Emperor, they were surprised to see Naruto was currently staring down at the one person they did not expect to see among the living and in the heart of Iowa. The fourth Hokage himself, Namikaze Minato. I almost don't believe it. Raiden brought you back to the land mortals. No doubt to stop me, remarked Naruto with his wrath hammer now in hand while narrowing his eyes at his father. Yes, I am back, but not by choice. Raiden traded with the Shinigami using the soul of another. Ironically enough, the trade was myself for Uchiha Obito. My old student. The one responsible for the fox attacking Konoha the night you were born, replied Minato, while Naruto's eyes narrowed. I've heard of him. He was supposed to be dead. Like you, remarked Naruto with Minato nodding. I thought he was at the time. I was a Jonin sensei during the Third Shinobi War, and I had gotten a mission report from both his teammates about what happened to him. I had no reason to doubt Obito died when both Kakashi and Rin said a boulder crushed most of his body, replied Minato sadly while Naruto snarled. Do not speak to me about Hatake. He made my life miserable for most of my childhood just like most of Konoha. The village you loved so much showed their true colors when it came to how they felt I should be treated. Remarked Naruto with Minato nodding since Kushina had warned him about that prior to his plan to seal the Kyuubi into Naruto when Obito put the Biju under his control to use against the village. I see. So even Kakashi has betrayed my wishes, said Minato with a sigh, while he saw it in Naruto's eyes that Kakashi was no longer among the land of the living. All three of his students were now dead. Yes, he did. Kakashi followed the third Hokage's way of handling me and being a puppet and slave for Konoha. The man even attempted treason of all things to get his oh so precious Uchiha for a student to be the next Hokage, after Tsunade gave up the hat. What does that tell you? Replied Naruto with Minato nodding before his face became deadly serious, and was now surrounded by golden chakra. The time for talk was over. I'm sorry you suffered all these years, Naruto, but I have to stop your advancement. Lord Raiden has commanded that I kill you in his name to stop your possible future threat to the realms, stated Minato, while Naruto's eyes narrowed at the sight of the fourth Hokage in this form. You're using the other half of Kurama sealed inside your body. Impressive, but then again mine is far more natural. Exclaimed Naruto while his own crimson flame consumed him and let out a demonic laugh. I see. No wonder Lord Raiden fears you. Your power is indeed awesome, remarked Minato though it was mostly to himself. Enough talk. Fight, exclaimed Naruto before charging at his father, and hitting the slightly surprised man with a shoulder tackle. Minato flipped back, landing on his feet, skidding violently when he channeled chakra to his feet, and looking at his son with calculating eyes. After a few seconds, Minato moved equally as fast as Naruto, and punched him in the stomach. Naruto gasped in shock at the feeling of pain from the blow, which was followed up by an uppercut by Minato, and a spin kick to the face. Naruto grinned wickedly at his father. For years, Naruto wondered what it would be like to fight the fourth Hokage. To fight his father. Konoha worshipped this man from sunrise to sunset for his accomplishments just as Iwa cursed him just as much. Naruto had sparred with Shao Kahn, his forefather many times, trained with countless warriors of Outworld, and fought on the front lines of battle to get where he was now. Naruto would finally have a chance to get a real fight. They were so rare. Sure, fighting the Raikage was a challenge, but it was after fighting B, so it was hard to say if that fight would have been challenging from the start. The Akatsuki's strength was nearly gone. If what his father mentioned was true, the real leader of the Akatsuki had been sacrificed to bring about the man's return to the land of mortals to fight his own son. As for the other members, they would either break off from the organization, or turn on each other for the right to the scraps left behind. Such cruelty was befitting that of the elder gods. They did tend to do such things when they wished. I'm going to enjoy crushing you in battle, father. I know why you did what you did back when I was a child. I understand it. I respect it. But all the same I hate you for trusting Konoha so recklessly with my life. Exclaimed Naruto, before he was in his father's personal space, and with his wrath hammer already in mid-swing had hit the former fourth Hokage right in the chest. Such power. If I wasn't for the fact I am technically still dead and under the Elder God's command with the Kyuubi chakra mode on, I would be dead already. His own version is more honed, perfected, even due to the fact the Biju sealed in him is no longer sealed, but rather merged into him as one entity, and he can handle the power behind it. Naruto, if we weren't fighting right now, I would be proud of you, thought Minato before moved in close, to hit his son again with various combos of taijutsu. On the sidelines, Inoki, Kurasuchi, and basically every single Iwa ninja in the village, was watching in shock, as the fourth Hokage himself was battling it out with his only son in a fight to the death. They never thought they would witness this in 100 years, due to the fact the fourth Hokage was supposed to be dead, and never suspected the man would even remotely wish to kill his son. Even if it was on orders of a supposed elder god. Father and son clashed violently against each other within the center of Iwa, using their speed, strength, agility, and weapons of choice to become the chosen victor of this all-out fight. Unfortunately, for Minato anyway, the man had not met a warrior like his son had become in the years growing up, and it was clear Naruto had quite the number of years of fighting under his belt. It was further proven when Naruto took part of a Rasengan his father made to the torso, before grabbing the offending limb to keep his father in place, and punched the man hard multiple times. Right in the gut to be precise. Minato gasped in pain with each hit before Naruto landed a massive uppercut to the former Hokage's jaw. The impact created from the punch sent Minato flying backward, bouncing once in a small roll, and skidding hard before coming to a stop. His Kyuubi chakra mode was starting noticeably weaken. "Where is the pathetic elder god who brought you back now, father?" questioned Naruto before letting out a mocking chuckle, and walked toward his downed father with a sense of clear superiority in this fight. "Naruto, you need to stop this. Stop this conquest of the world. Raiden won't stand for it. He will find a way to stop you without the interference of the other elder gods. As strong as you are now, your strength is not at his level yet. You are not ready to fight him for the right to rule this realm," exclaimed Minato before he was picked up by Naruto with his massive hand on his shinobi attire. "Ha! The Thunder God's ever-pathetic attempts to stop my advances for stability in this world shackles me no longer," stated Naruto before punching his father in the face, and backhanding him with this repeating several times, until Minato's Kyuubi chakra mode finally faded away. Seeing the man was dazed from the blows to the head, Naruto threw him a good distance into the air for all of Iwa to see, and watched the man crash onto the dirty ground soon after. It was clear the former Hokage of Konoha had taken quite the beating, more than anyone had ever seen him take when alive, and even more so now. "Naruto, you don't understand. Raiden is afraid you will merge the realms. That you can get around it without the elder gods interfering. He fears you will find a loophole in the rules the elder gods made about the merging of the realms. He fears you will being the merger of Earthrealm with that world," exclaimed Minato while trying to stand, but could not due to his body suffering the abuse his son had landed on him sooner, and could only turn over onto his back. "My forefather Shao Kahn told me all about Raiden from their many years fighting each other. The Thunder God always did portray himself as a mighty deity of this realm. A little lightning here, words of wisdom there, but in fact Raiden did not have the might, or even the right to dictate policy. He isn't always was in truth a toothless worm," replied Naruto while walking over to the downed Minato before stomping on his chest, and looking at his father's defeated form. "Even if what you say is true, his power is still beyond your own. You need something more," stated Minato while in pain and heard his son chuckle. "I know. And ironically enough, Raiden has given it to me. Through you," replied Naruto before picking the barely conscious man up, and thrust his hand into the seal on Minato's body. Minato yelled and felt the Biju's other half sealed inside his body from all those years ago leaving him. "A time like Raiden's has passed. This realm belongs to me now," stated Naruto before he finished taking Kurama's other half, and merging it with himself to ultimately make him even stronger. Throwing his father's body yet again, Naruto watched with amusement to see how his father struggled to rise despite his new injury. The man had determination, the Emperor would give him that much. But all good things come to an end. "You are truly surprising, Naruto." "No doubt about it," whispered Minato to himself. Raiden spent all this time trying to stop with foolish resistance. Wave after wave of enemies have come and gone, fallen by my hands. "You know as well as I do, father, that deep down, I have won," said Naruto while walking toward his father with the wrath hammer in his hands, and turned to face the man still on his knees on the ground. "Yes, you have won. Against me and soon against Raiden himself," replied Minato, as he could easily admit to himself that his son was the stronger warrior, and was going to win this fight. "Goodbye, father. Your world as you and Raiden know it, is about to end," said Naruto before letting out a war cry, and raised his wrath hammer over his head to bring it down on his own father. "Goodbye, son. And despite everything know that I still love you," whispered Minato, as he looked up at his son, and saw the wrath hammer coming down. After that, everything went dark for the former Hokage of Konoha. As for Naruto himself, all he saw at the moment was the crimson color that was red. He saw it on the ground, on the buildings, and on himself from when his wrath hammer descended down upon his father. With his power slowly receding, the giant of a man turned to face the Tsuchikage, who had landed in front of him with his granddaughter, and a platoon of Iwa Anbu. "Is that enough to gain your allegiance to my growing empire? Will the people of Iwa join me now, third Tsuchikage?" asked Naruto, since he knew many of the Iwa ninja in Iwa wanted to kill the fourth Hokage for what he did in the war, and just witnessed seeing the man's end. And at the hands of his own son no less. As for the Tsuchikage himself, he was once more calculating the odds of fighting this man before him, and winning against the impressive beast Naruto truly was at heart. Oh sure, Inoki had his granddaughter, his Anbu, and basically all of Iwa here at the ready to fight Naruto. A man who had been fighting his father in combat, and was surely to be weakened to an extent where he couldn't take on all of Iwa. Right. But the Tsuchikage did not become the Tsuchikage by acting rashly, like some of the other Kages did, like the Raikage of Kumo, not that long ago from what his spies told him of the man's demise. No. Inoki knew that this man before them was the leader of an empire, and his army was no doubt close by with the intent of fighting Iwa until they were killed, or effectively beaten into submission with the survivors joining or becoming missing nin. Even if, and it was a very big if at this point, that they were able to successfully defeat the young emperor, the army the man commanded would finish them all off, and that Tsuchikage suspected the two Jinchuriki Iwa once had would help lead the charge. I think we can work something out for Iwa accepting you, my emperor, answered the Tsuchikage with a slight bow, and the others doing the same, including Kurasuchi. And was it Naruto's imagination, or was the woman blushing? He knew seeing Iwa's most hated enemy die at the hands of his offspring would make the woman get all flustered. Good to hear. Contrary to what some might say, I don't wish to fight anyone unless it is necessary. I also know having Iwa along with the rest of Earth Country absorbed fully into my empire is better than fighting it and reducing everything about Iwa into a fraction of its former self. Please inform your daimyo that you are supporting me from now on, and so long as he does the same, I won't have to find his replacement, replied Naruto before walking out of Iwa with all of its ninja and people looking at him in awe. And somewhere standing on a high mountaintop near Iwa, an elder and thunder god of the realm that guarded felt a cold chill run up his spine. Outworld. What did you say, Shadow Priest? Asked Shao Kahn, while leaning forward and glaring at the robed figure who was a master in the ways of sorcery like all shadow priests under his command. I have figured out a way for you to merge Earthrealm with Outworld without unleashing the wrath of the elder gods, replied the shadow priest, by the name of Tao before Shao Kahn. Explain, demanded Shao Kahn while he along with his other generals listened to this information with interest. As you know, the elder gods have forbidden the merging of the realms by means of conquest, and even that of the Mortal Kombat tournaments. As such, any attempt by trying either of these methods would violate the rules the elder gods have set forth and bring their power down upon the one who broke their rules. However, there's one other way to merge two realms together that does not violate the rules and is completely within your power to do, replied Tao, while Shao Kahn narrowed his eyes. What must I do to secure Earthrealm? Asked Shao Kahn curiously, while the shadow priest surprisingly hesitated. Respectfully, my emperor, the only way for things to be set in motion is you need to die, replied Tao, who soon found himself swarmed by the Tarkatan demons, forced to his knees, and blades all around his body, ready to run him through. Only Shao Kahn's massive hand rising quickly to stop them made the demon warriors of Outworld obey. I will trust that your words were not hint of treason against me, Shadow Priest. Continue, commanded Shao Kahn with Tao nodding, though the Tarkatan demons refused to release him. Next to Shao Kahn's massive throne, Melina also growled at Tao and had her say out to spill the Shadow Priest's blood. My words are not of treason, my emperor. I am not stupid enough to speak in such a way to promote treason and expect to walk out of here with my life. I am merely stating your death is part of a process to merge the realms together, explained Tao, while Shao Kahn didn't like the idea of dying, but was no less interested in how his death would allow the realms to merge without the elder gods unleashing their fury. What is the overall process? Asked Shao Kahn, while watching Tao for any hint of lying or deception. As you are well aware, Melina is the current proclaimed heir to the throne of Outworld, while your bloodline descendant in Earthrealm is increasing own power there, and has made himself an emperor to rule over the lands. Started Tao, with Shao Kahn nodding and grinning at how his legacy in Earthrealm was carving out his own empire. Of course, Naruto visits me on many occasions seeking guidance and wisdom from my years of ruling Outworld. He was even able to provide my daughter with someone worthy of courting, remarked Shao Kahn, while Melina had a swooning look on her face at the mere mention of Kimimaro. Alas, because Melina is not of your blood, she cannot be the one to sit on your throne, added Tao, with Shao Kahn's eyes narrow, and Melina moving to kill him. I will enjoy presenting your robed head to my lover, remarked Melina sinisterly at Tao with say in hand. Melina, command Shao Kahn, with the woman holding back from striking the shadow priest for the moment. While this shocking news is disheartening, and no doubt upsetting to hear my emperor, it is nonetheless part of a process to merge the realms. Not just Outworld and Earthrealm, but also Edenia as well, since it was separated from Outworld ages ago for reasons we all know, said Tao, with Shao Kahn looking a bit more intrigued. Explain yourself, Shadow Priest. I have yet to see the connection, commanded Shao Kahn, with his tone telling Tao to get to the point. Yes, my emperor. One of the rare ways known for merging two realms together would be through the union of marriage between sides who are by blood the ones with the right to rule over their chosen realm. As Melina is Princess Katana's twin sister, she is also by blood able to have a say in what fate should befall Edenia. Seeing as Princess Katana and Queen Sindel are no longer among the land mortals, Melina is the now sole heir to the throne and realm of Edenia, meaning she can decide what to do with Edenia regarding whether she wishes to have it merge with another realm, namely the very realm of her beloved by the name of Kimimaro from Earthrealm. With the blessing of their union by Shao Kahn's bloodline legacy already ruling there, the marriage would allow the merging of Edenia and Earthrealm together. Explained Tao, while Melina looked happy to hear that she could take control of Edenia and merge it with Earthrealm, since it would benefit her family. I see. But how does my death help merge Outworld and Earthrealm? demanded Shao Kahn with a hint of annoyance, with his patience getting increasingly thin. Upon our death, your bloodline descendant in Earthrealm would need to take the throne here to prevent a possible war of unrest. If the young man who is of your blood does this, he can effectively merge the realms together to rule over both as one realm. The elder gods cannot forbid this in any shape or form, as it does not violate the rules, since Naruto would be the one to rule Outworld by right of succession, replied Tao with Shao Kahn, thinking things over in his head. I think I understand now. Through Melina being with Kimimaro from Earthrealm, my legacy there can absorb Edenia, and upon my death, would get Outworld as well via being my true successor to the throne by blood, surmised Shao Kahn, while Melina looked like she had been punched by her father. But what will become of me, father? Asked Melina while seeing the man gaze upon her. You have little to fear from Naruto, my child. Naruto has always respected you and will not do anything to jeopardize your happiness with young Kimimaro. In fact, I believe your position within my ranks would strengthen through this marriage with Naruto's most loyal warrior, and both will protect you from any possible threats, said Shao Kahn, while Melina nodded since she had talked with Naruto on several occasions and had formed a family bond of sorts. It was a bit weird, but what family wasn't? There's still the minor issue of how you are to die for this plan to work, my emperor, spoke Baraka for the first time since hearing this, and made Shao Kahn frown at him. Fool. I intend to die the only way befitting an emperor of my station through mortal combat, exclaimed Shao Kahn, knowing that if he was going to die, it was going to be on his terms, and one of a warrior. But who would you face? Who would have the strength to fight you to the death? Asked Baraka, as he had no intention of doing it, and neither did the other generals from the different races of Outworld under his command. The warrior I have chosen for this fight to the death will be none other than Kimimaro, Melina's lover and future husband, declared Shao Kahn, while Melina looked shocked and a little afraid when hearing that. My Kimimaro. But father, he will not raise a hand against you, protested Melina, knowing her lover wouldn't dare fight Shao Kahn in the belief it would drive the Kaguya clan member and the female target in Athenian hybrid apart. Kimimaro is a competent warrior. I have seen it myself. If this man wishes to court you and still be your future husband, he will face me in mortal combat, declared Shao Kahn, with Melina looking unsure on how to approach this. On one hand, if Kimimaro won, she would truly gain a husband, but it would cost her a father in the process. If Kimimaro lost, she would still have her father, but lose the only male in all the realms worthy of being her husband. It wasn't fair. I will go and tell him, father. As his woman, it is only fair I be the one to tell him, said Melina with Shao Kahn nodding. Inform Naruto of this situation as well. He must know of what his future holds for him here in Outworld and the merging of our realms, commanded Shao Kahn, as he watched Melina bow and soon enter a portal that would take her to the intended destination in Earthrealm. With Naruto. Are you sure about this? Asked Naruto with a frown on his face despite it being covered by his own war helmet. Yes. Father wishes this to happen on both counts, replied Melina, as she had headed straight for the elemental palace that was once just the late Fire Daimyo's castle, which had gone under various construction-based modifications since Naruto took over. Naruto sighed heavily, knowing that, no matter what happened, they were going to lose in some shape or form. Neither Naruto or Melina wanted Shao Kahn or Kimimaro to die anytime soon, but it seemed such a decision was out of their hands. For this marriage to happen, much less the merging of three realms in no specific order, this one fight had to happen. I will inform Kimimaro of this. I had hoped to give my forefather an additional legacy or two through me. For him to see my own children grow up before he showed signs of death looming over him. At the very least, Shao Kahn will die a warrior's death. When did forefather wish this fight to happen? Replied Naruto, with Melina looking saddened by the fact she would be losing her father in order to gain a husband. Within 2 weeks, I believe. It will happen in the battle arena in Outworld, answered Melina, with Naruto nodding. I sense your concerns in this matter, Melina. Do not worry, Kimimaro will understand, said Naruto, with Melina smiling behind her pink mask. Let him know I want him to fight at his very best. My father wants him to fight with all of his power. He will accept nothing less from my future husband, said Melina, as she had wanted to tell him herself, but she was afraid what Kimimaro would do. I will. Go back to Outworld, Melina. Go spend time with your father, replied Naruto, with Melina nodding before she left via the portal to Outworld. If this merging of all three realms does happen, the feud between the Shokan and the Centaurians could return, remarked Shiva, as she turned to see her husband nodding, since he had come up with the idea for having her people come to Earthrealm, in order to remove such a feud. Be as that may, Shiva, I believe we can avoid such a problem if we handle this matter correctly. As it stands, the Shokan have a high standing through you being my wife. If we are to keep the peace with your rivals, I must have a Centaurian like Madara as a general of my forces, and ensure they know I value their race, explained Naruto, with Shiva not liking it one bit, but she knew he had a point, and didn't protest it. She trusted him to make the right decision after all. Elemental Palace. War Room. I never thought I would be planning the end of my future father-in-law in this room, said Kimimaro dejectedly after Naruto told him everything here in private, due to no one being around this area unless authorized. Me neither. Melina is not happy about this situation as well, Kimimaro. However, she wants you to fight her father with everything you've got. So does Shao Kahn. I know in your heart, the idea of killing my forefather and future father-in-law is not something you want to do. It is something you must do, replied Naruto with Kimimaro nodding with his eyes, showing he understood what was at stake here and why this must happen. I will fight all my power, all my strength. When the time comes to finish Shao Kahn off, it will be quick. It will be with the dignity befitting a warrior. Befitting that of an emperor, said Kimimaro firmly while Naruto nodding. I doubt you would want it any other way, said Naruto with a smile and put a hand on the albino ninja's shoulder. Kimimaro could only nod at his master's words and went off to privately train. Not just to strengthen his body, but to strengthen his of mind as well. Elsewhere, Raiden seethed angrily, his eyes flashing with electricity at his failure crushed Shao Kahn's descendant, and the machinations of the young man about to merge 3 realms into one. What was even worse, was the Thunder God was unable to obtain the soul of Uzumaki Kushina, even when he provided Shinnok a female missing nin to trade. The former Elder God laughed at him, and claimed he didn't have her soul. Angered, Raiden demanded to know where the soul was, but Shinnok just smirked behind his restraints, and remarked that he should never underestimate a mother's love for their child, regardless if they were mortal or not. It was only later did the Thunder God understand that Uzumaki Kushina had sealed her soul into Naruto to be a protective guard against the fox, once sealed inside of Naruto. It would now stand to reason that Kushina's soul was within her son where it was beyond his reach. Raiden, you must stop this. I beg of you. This is madness. Everything you have done to stop this young emperor from succeeding in his plan has ended not only in failure, but has also made him stronger too. You are only making things worse for yourself, pleaded Fujin while Raiden glared at his friend and fellow god. If I do nothing, Fujin, all as we know it will change, and not for the better, said Raiden, with Fujin shaking his head. You don't know that. You are so afraid of the worst possible outcome that you can't see it is happening by your own hands. You push things to this point. You cannot interfere anymore, Raiden. You can only observe. The other elder gods forbid anything else. You're lucky they didn't punish you for bringing the boy's father back to attack him, said Fujin, while Raiden scowled further at the reminder about his plan backfiring. And the end result had made Naruto even stronger. I need to provoke Naruto into facing me in Mortal Kombat. Only by doing so will I be free to kill him without the interference of the other elder gods, thought Raiden, but knew it would be difficult to do it, and needed to push the emperor into a confrontation. Thinking over his options, Raiden realized that he still could by going after one final Uzumaki not under Naruto's command. Uzumaki Nagato, also known as Pain of the Akatsuki. Crush him in the Akatsuki as a whole would draw Naruto to him, and the holding of several people hostage would force Shao Kahn's descendant to fight him. Outworld, Battle Arena. 2 weeks later, Kimimaro stood before Shao Kahn, the giant of a man already there, wrath hammer in hand, and ready for battle. The 2 warriors stared at each other, burning determination in their eyes. This was a fight to the death. Only one of them could walk away from this. The other would be dead and slowly rotting corpse by the day's end. And yet deep down neither wanted this. But they had to do it all the same. Kimimaro had finally married Melina. The 2 said their sacred vows to each other before Shao Kahn and Naruto, with Melina offering Adenia to Earthrealm as a dowry, and to be merged after the marriage was made. While the 2 realms merged together as one, Kimimaro went with Melina to a private area for their honeymoon in Earthrealm that was provided by Naruto, where the 2 could be alone. The 2 lovers mated relentlessly in their time together, resting only eat, drink, and regain their lost strength from their time mating. It was during the afterglow of their honeymoon, after finishing their rotting together, did Kimimaro ask Melina if she could forgive him for what he had to do in the coming week in facing Shao Kahn. That she could still love him after he killed the only real father the female target in a Denian hybrid had ever known. Melina for her part looked at him with loving and caring eyes, which was a rare thing for her, since those eyes were normally filled with rage, bloodlust, and hunger to rip into someone's flesh. The woman told Kimimaro that she knew what was at stake, and could not hate him for what was to come. Her father was going to die. It seemed to be written in stone. The way he went out, however, was the man's choice, and who would be the one to end him too. All Melina could ask of Kimimaro was to fight her father with all his power and win, by giving Shao Kahn a warrior's death. She also told him that her father, after all these years, still had his pride as being the strongest warrior in all of Outworld, and told Kimimaro her father would give his all in their fight. No pulled punches. No holding back. It was going to be an all-out fight to the death, and the Emperor of Outworld was going to make sure that the Kaguya earned his victory. Kimimaro swore to Melina that he would win, but it would be a victory the man would not enjoy, or take pride in. Ever. I must do this. For Naruto-sama, and for Melina Haim. I must also do this for the realms. Shao Kahn-sama also wants this too, despite the plan resulting in his own death. To merge Outworld with Earthrealm, thought Kimimaro while getting into a fighting stance. Hold nothing back, Kimimaro. I will accept nothing less from the man who has earned my daughter's heart and hand in marriage, said Shao Kahn, with Kimimaro nodding with conviction in his eyes, in knowing what needs to be done. Same to you, Shao Kahn-sama. No matter what happens, it was an honor fighting you, said Kimimaro with Shao Kahn letting out a small chuckle. Something tells me the honor will be mine, remarked Shao Kahn before his eyes now hardened, and got ready for his fight with Kimimaro, while Naruto sat in Shao Kahn's chair in the battle arena, and would be the one to supervise this match. Ready? Fight! Exclaimed Naruto while bringing his hand down and started the match. One of the most brittle ones in all of Outworld. Kimimaro danced around Shao Kahn, summoning bone-like weapons to his hands, and lashing out at the Emperor of Outworld with all of his fury his clan was known for. As for Shao Kahn, the man had lost none of his power, or his physical prowess, when it came to fighting others. It was one of the reasons he had stayed the Emperor of Outworld for so long, and it showed with his incredible speed matching his awesome strength. Melina watched with sadness in her eyes at the battle taking place, knowing one of the two men fighting in front of her eyes was about to die. Granted, Shao Kahn had to die in order to bring about the merging of Outworld and Earthrealm together. The man was not going to go down without fighting, and the Emperor rarely lost to anyone. The last time Shao Kahn lost had been to the Elder Gods, after they had used Raiden's body to channel their power as a whole. Of course everyone assumed the man died after all that remained of him, when it was over was the damaged war helmet, but death was too merciful to the Elder Gods, and secretly bound the man in chains to the Netherrealm in the areas few would travel or know about. Even Shinnok and Quan Kai had been made unaware of Shao Kahn's imprisonment, instead of expected death. Raiden only learned of it many years later when he was made an Elder God was defending Earthrealm from the future attack led by Shinnok, following the failed invasion of the Emperor. However, what no one realized was that Shao Kahn was amazingly stubborn, and would not let his chains bind him to the Netherrealm for long. Reptile had traveled to the realm that was Hell, and managed to somehow locate his master's scent there before finding the fallen Emperor bound by the Elder Gods. Proving his loyalty, Reptile carefully used the acid from his mouth to weaken the chains that bound Shao Kahn, to the point where the man could break them. Afterwards, Shao Kahn was told of Shinnok's plans for invading Earthrealm, using the army of undead warriors gathered from Earthrealm, following the Emperor's failed invasion, and even Adenia's royal family of Sindel and Katana. Having been around enough treacherous entities in his life to know he had been deceived by another, Shao Kahn went into a rage, returned to Outworld to reclaim his throne, and take control of his armies. Once he had done that, the Emperor turned his attention back to the war between Shinnok and Raiden, with the latter losing, and decided to step into the shock of both godly entities. It was even more surprising when Shao Kahn turned his attention towards Shinnok, and fought the fallen Elder God over his deception in using him like a pawn. Shinnok of course tried to fight back before begging, and pleading for his life when the brutality had become too much for him to take. Quan Kai had tried to flee after seeing his master on the ground in such a weakened state, but Shao Kahn quickly put a stop to that, before he could reach the open portal with a few light spears to the back. In fact, Shinnok had nearly perished that day were it not for the intervention of the Elder Gods yet again, and how they would punish Shinnok accordingly from there. Raiden had appealed to the Elder Gods to vanquish Shao Kahn as well, but the Elder Gods refused, stating the rules pertaining to Mortal Kombat before taking Shinnok away. It was only sometime later when Shao Kahn had left to return to Outworld, and Raiden's arguments about the safety of the realms, did the Elder Gods unanimously decide that there needed further protection with stricter rules. If left the way they were, the continued fighting would destabilize the realms, bringing about the apocalypse to all of the realms, and possibly the return of the One Being. And since that time no one has been able to merge any of the realms. Not even through the Mortal Kombat tournaments which the Elder Gods decreed were no longer allowed. And like all things, when it came to the rules of the Elder Gods, they could not be broken. With this battle being the only true exception. Excellent. I haven't had this much fun in ages, exclaimed Shao Kahn happily, while his body was marked by wounds in his blood, while even having a few of the Kaguya's bone spike projectiles stuck in his body for added measure. He's so strong. Even I never imagined Shao Kahn had this much strength. The only one I believed to be this strong was Naruto-sama. Though considering the two are linked by blood, it's not surprising Naruto-sama is as strong as he is right now, thought Kimimaro while breathing heavily, his body covered in his own share of blood, injuries. And one mean-looking bruise to the right side of his albino face, caused by a mean punch, courtesy of Shao Kahn's fist. Feeling he needed a means to strike out at Shao Kahn from a safe distance, Kimimaro made a vicious-looking whip from his own spine. However, Shao Kahn still had amazing speed on his side, and dodged each strike Kimimaro launched, before retaliating with a few light spears. The projectiles were barely dodged or blocked using the spine whip, but the last action was all Shao Kahn needed to shoulder tackle Kimimaro hard to send the Kaguya falling back and skidding along the ground. But the albino wasn't done yet, as he rolled with the momentum, and used his whip by striking at the larger man's feet to stop Shao Kahn's advance for a short time. Shao Kahn, not letting the weapon aimed at his lower body stop his advancement, leaped high into the air, which was impressive for a man of his size, wrath hammer in hand, and brought the weapon down on Kimimaro. The Kaguya rolled out of the way just barely, and was pushed back by the shockwave that was produced by the wrath hammer, when adding Shao Kahn's strength to the mix. You have done well so far, Kimimaro. No one has ever lasted this long in fighting me. Do not stop. Do not forget why you are here. Bellowed Shao Kahn, while Kimimaro spit out some blood that was in his mouth and his resolve strengthening, when he looked over at Melina, who gave him a nod, that even after all she had seen, the woman was still supporting him. The Kaguya made a mental note to make love to her when his body was fully healed and beg for her forgiveness, even if he already had it. I have not forgotten, whispered Kimimaro while making a lance out of bone around his right arm. It was time to go in for the kill. Then what are you waiting for? Get up. Stand up. Stand up and fight me. Bellowed Shao Kahn, as his power covering him rose around him, and now beckoned Kimimaro forward to attack. Kimimaro knew this was it. This was the moment where the two of them would clash and only one of them would walk away. Channeling all his strength, his power, his love, and loyalty to those he cared about into his being, Kimimaro moved forward. His bone lace for an arm cocked back, ready to thrust forward and pierce the Emperor's body. As for Shao Kahn, he saw the signs of the attack coming easily enough, and rushed toward with the intent to meet it halfway. His wrath hammer in hand, ready to swing it, and send Kimimaru's head clean right off his shoulders. Kimimaru saw this, if just barely due to his spars he had with Naruto. The Kaguya ducked low under the swing, and leaped back when the follow-up swing happened. The wrath hammer was barely an inch from his nose. Any closer would have taken his nose, and a good chunk of his face clean off. Shao Kahn moved to bring his wrath hammer down on Kimimaru vertically this time, while the Kaguya leaped over the giant man, spun around the moment his feet hit the ground, and rushed forward to spear his target with his arm lance. Shao Kahn had used his momentum from his vertical swing at the last second to spin around to hit Kimimaru with a diagonal swing, but barely missed his target, taking only a few strands of the Kaguya's hair in the process, and leaving himself wide open to an attack. Something Kimimaru took full advantage of and pierced Shao Kahn's right through the middle of his torso. The Emperor's blood among other things staining the bone lance while his mind struggled to not only stay alive, but trying to comprehend the simple fact someone had actually killed him. Off to the side, Naruto watched his forefather's weapon of choice slowly fall from his grip, and life leave the man's crimson eyes. And yet, despite all of this, the Emperor Shao Kahn had a faint smile on his lips. A knowing smile. An understanding smile. A smile of a man who made peace with his death. As for Melina, she felt tears from in her eyes at the sight of the man she called father was dying right before her eyes. This man, who had ordered her very creation, called her daughter, give her a name, and purpose under his command was dying. And it wasn't at the hands of an enemy to his throne like it had been ages ago with Raiden's own chosen warriors back, when the Mortal Kombat tournament was still being used. This was at the hands of her husband, her lover, and one day the future father of their children, once they made it enough times, that would grace the halls of the Emperor's palace. Well done, Kimimaru. You are, indeed worthy of, my daughter, rasped Shao Kahn, before he fell down to his knees, slumped forward, held by Kimimaru before being turned over onto the ground, on his back, and the Kaguya removed the bone lance from the giant man's body. Thank you, Shao Kahn-sama. Goodbye, whispered Kimimaru before the usually stoic warrior broke down crying, knowing what he had done, and who this hurt in the process. Shao Kahn, the conqueror of realms, was dead. The conqueror had been conquered. Winner? Kaguya Kimimaru, declared Naruto while his own eyes fought back the tears he wanted to shed, but didn't out of respect for his forefather, and knew Shao Kahn did not want his heir to shed them. The only reason Kimimaru was crying right now was because Melina, the one he loved, had been hurt emotionally by this, and didn't want to hurt the Athenian Targetan hybrid woman in any shape or form. With his decree made, Naruto along with Melina walked over to Kimimaru and Shao Kahn's body, while not saying anything. All Naruto could do now was put a hand on the Kaguya's shoulder, giving it a firm squeeze before looking at Melina to give her a look of his own, and telling her to give the man the comfort he needed. Come Kimimaru-kun. Let's go inside the palace. We need to clean you up, and Naruto-sama needs to address the people in the arena, replied Melina in a calming and soothing tone, while Kimimaru looked at her for a second before nodding. I would never hurt you like I just did here, my love. I swear it, whispered Kimimaru while seeing Melina looking at him with love in her eyes, and held him close. I know Kimimaru-kun. I'm not angry with you. My father was given a warrior's death. It's what he wanted. In the end, you made him a happy man, and therefore I am happy, said Melina while leading Kimimaru away from the arena. Know that I will always love you, whispered Kimimaru, his guilt clear in his words, and Melina shushed him silently while putting a single index finger on his lips. Enough of that. Let's clean you up and we can spend the rest of the day together. Alone. No fighting. No mating. Just holding each other as lovers do, replied Melina while she looked at Kimimaru who nodded. They walked away without a single word being spoken after that. People of Outworld here today. As of this moment, I am your new emperor of this realm. My forefather, the now late Emperor Shao Kahn, proclaimed me his heir to the throne, as is my right by blood. In doing so, I now rule 2 realms as an emperor of both, yet such a feat cannot be maintained, as both realms are vast, and I cannot rule 2 realms separately. Henceforth, by the power invested in me by my right to rule Earthrealm by my birth there, and the right by blood to rule over Outworld, I hereby proclaim that both realms shall merge into a single one. As I am born of Earthrealm, the realm of Outworld shall be the one absorbed, and all the realms that were absorbed before into it in the past, prior to its own soon-to-be absorption. Declared Naruto with the crowd cheering since they had heard the stories of Earthrealm with the clean air, water, and good food that you just couldn't get in certain places in Outworld. Now Outworld would become part of Earthrealm through the merging, enjoy in the fruits of its labors, open up new trade, and meet new people in the process. At the same time, their new emperor would be growing stronger in the process, and that strength would be used to help his domain grow stronger. Long live the new emperor! Long live the new emperor! Yelled the crowd in a chanting tone while Naruto basked in their cheering in the moment. Once he was done, Naruto summoned several Outworld soldiers to help him in carrying the body of Shao Kahn out of the arena, to be buried someplace with dignity, and above all else with respect. It was the official end of an era, and the beginning of a new one. Thanks for listening. I do hope you enjoyed. If you want the next part of this video, like, subscribe, and comment down below, and turn on that bell notification. And also check out the other videos that I have created, and enjoy. See you in the next video. Peace.